Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate your support as always. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go. What are we looking at, folks? What are we looking at? Well, this can be one of the that's really the biggest issue, I think. Well, biggest issue when it comes to the Fever and having a successful offense, but also when people like to point to, say, the turnovers by Caitlin Clark, or if she's shooting a low percentage, especially from three. Here is why, folks. Here is why. And these are all from the same people who say she can't create her own shot. 2024 field goals made, assisted 33.1%, unassisted 66.9%, which led the league. 2025, she's leading the league again, and it has gotten worse. We've put supposedly more talent around her, but she is getting more unassisted buckets. 3/4 of the buckets Caitlin Clark scores are unassisted. This is a basketball player that makes everything for every teammate on the court much, much easier. This is why those players are getting buckets. It's why those players are shooting well from the field, because they have Caitlin Clark, not only with the gravity and the attention she draws defensively, but her insane passing ability and game IQ. But the favor does not get returned. Caitlin Clark does not have teammates that get her good looks. So yeah, her 3-point shooting percentage isn't always going to be great, because the only way she gets one off is when she creates it herself and shoots from 30 feet. Yeah, right. We have a look here. Look, number one on fun fact, it assisted on fewer points than any player in the WNBA on 2-point and 3-point field goals. There, sorry, I was going to word it completely wrong. So yeah, it is absolutely wild that Caitlin Clark, someone who we keep being told can't get her own shot, is dependent on screens and teammates and all that, leads the league really in getting her own shot. So it's another narrative that is completely false. It's a complete and total lie. And it is a huge problem for the Indiana Fever. And let's not forget, we keep hearing Stephanie White talk like she's Christy Sides. And what do I mean by that? She gives you superficial, what's the word I'm looking for? Cliches, I guess, in terms of what they have to do, right? Well, the team's struggling with this, and what does the coach say? Oh, well, we got to be better at this. That's on me. I've got to do better. And Stephanie White has been saying that repeatedly about how, oh, we have to get Caitlin Clark better looks. But we watch the game, Stephanie White. We know basketball probably better than you do. And we don't see anything that says you are trying to get Caitlin Clark shots. You were trying to get Caitlin Clark good looks. We don't see any of that, because the whole design of the pick and roll are crappy picks that are slipped so other players can get open looks and be the beneficiary of the talent that Caitlin Clark is. They're never to get Caitlin Clark shots. The picks suck, basically. And when she's off the ball, you're running her away from the ball to set screens for other people. I think maybe there's been maybe two plays I've seen this year where Caitlin Clark off the ball, there's been something designed, even with multiple picks, to get her an open look. They're doing nothing to get Caitlin Clark good looks. Could you imagine? And be serious. Come on. Be honest. This isn't a shot at Lexi Hull. I'm just using her because of the look she gets, and because we know that she's been, you know, 3-point shooting was 99% of her game last year, that she's expanding it this year, which I love to see. Or even a Sophie Cunningham, right? The wide open looks they get in the corner on the three because of Caitlin Clark. Could you imagine the points Caitlin Clark would put up, the shooting percentages, the record number of threes she'd make in a game if she got those open looks on the corner three? Absolutely insane. And hey, shout out. Look, man, there are a lot of things Sue Bird says that I don't like, but when she's right, she's right, and I'm going to praise it for her. And I think this is a really, really important piece right here. Sue Bird talking about what I was just saying, the lack of shot creators around Caitlin Clark. It's starting to look like, kind of a selfish team, to be fair, selfish team away from Caitlin Clark.
You know, I got to watch Caitlin play in person against Seattle. And one thing I noticed was it'd be really beneficial to her if she had players around her who could create shots for her, right? She has to create a lot of her own shots, but she's also creating for her teammates. And there are times where if she could just get some open looks off other people's play, it could be really beneficial to her. And that's where Ari McDonald might have some impact.
Let's hope that is true. It will be interesting, right? That is one thing we have not seen yet is a pairing of Ari McDonald and Caitlin Clark. Of course, if we see that pairing and it's good, who's sitting? They're already a small team. Ari McDonald makes them smaller. I don't know that you can sit Lexi Hull, right? Or AB or Howard. So it would be Mitchell that would lose out on minutes if McDonald and Caitlin Clark end up being a good pairing in terms of getting Caitlin Clark going. And what you're hearing from Sue Bird is I know she didn't like mean it that way in a mean way, but yes, that is a shot across the bow of the rest of the roster of the Indiana Fever that they are not good enough. They are not playing the game well enough in which Caitlin Clark can be a beneficiary from their skills. They are, again, I don't, they're being selfish. And I'm not saying they're actually like in their head thinking, I'm not going to get Caitlin Clark a shot. But in a way, they are being selfish because, yes, they are benefiting from what Caitlin Clark brings to them as a scorer in terms of the defense's attention to her, which again lessens the attention on the other players, just like I said about the open threes. Again, Stephanie White. There's a reason Kelsey Mitchell had her most efficient season ever in the WNBA last year. It was because she was a good player, and then you added Caitlin Clark to the mix, and it just elevated to an entirely different level. And so this whole offense, and what's so wild is, let me say one, this whole offense revolves around Caitlin Clark, because like Sue Bird said, Caitlin Clark has to, as I showed you with the numbers, she has to get her own shot. Okay. And she's also got it on her shoulders to get everyone else good looks too. So then people can praise them and they look great. And then it's like, well, yeah, they're that way because of Caitlin Clark. It's not because of them. Now, obviously, it is to a degree. Don't get it twisted, right? Kelsey Mitchell's a great scorer in college. She's got a ton of talent. You've seen her light up at times, even when Caitlin Clark's not out there. But the point being, Kelsey Mitchell is on another level as a shooting guard when Caitlin Clark is out there. Lexi Hull is on another level as a three-point shooter when Caitlin Clark is out there. AB is on another level as an offensive post player when Caitlin Clark is out there. That just is the truth. And so you've got nobody trying to get Caitlin Clark open looks, but they're all wanting to benefit from Caitlin Clark's passing ability, and that is going to be a problem. And then on top of that, what I wanted to add it again, I am going to call out Stephanie White a bit, is you have an offense that is designed to limit Caitlin Clark. Instead of taking what Caitlin Clark does well and running an offense off of that, you're trying to turn the team into something that it's not. Let's look at it this way. Let's revisit something here. And shout out Cody Banks for the shout out to me. And this is Caitlin Clark talking about the offense that you would run with Caitlin Clark. We've heard her talk about this multiple times with the Fever as well. Maybe not in as much depth, but we've definitely heard her talk about it.
What's this Caitlin Clark scouting report on Caitlin Clark?
Well, you just watched Debbie Antonelli's videos that she's been putting on Twitter, because I gave an entire scouting report, and I still do it in the game. But I mean, I'll tell you, but if you just watch my games, not much ever changes. You know, I like to step back going to the left. I think the thing that makes it really hard is we run a read and react offense. You never know what's going to happen. You can't scout that. Like, you can try all you want, you can work on actions, but you never know what we're going to do, because we don't even know what we're going to do. And I think that's the best way to play basketball, is you're just making reads. You're using your brain. And Coach Butter says, just be a basketball player. You know, don't be a robot. Be a basketball player. And that's why people like watching Iowa women's basketball, is because we make reads, we have fun, we play up tempo, we want to get out in transition. But I think for me, you know, the area I want to thrive in is always transition. You know, that's why I take pride in getting on the defensive glass and pushing the ball, because I just think it's so hard to guard us, especially with the way our 4s and 5s run the floor, and and Kate and Gabby can spot up for threes. I think it's really, really hard for us. So yeah, I think, you know, everybody knows what I'm going to do at this point. It's just, I don't know. That's what I always tell myself is just be you. You know, that's all you can do.
So here's my question for you all. We'll keep this really simple because we can go back and forth. You've got the people out there like Stephanie White could do no wrong. There should be no criticism ever. You're not a real fan if you criticize your own team or their players or their, anything else. I think I might have mentioned this briefly in another video, but the WNBA team just awarded a franchise to Philadelphia. So if that attitude's coming to Philly, it's going to be very, very interesting. But here's my question to you. Let's just make it very simple. We all know that what Caitlin Clark just said is 100% true in terms of the way not just the way she wants to play, but the fact that that is the way. If you want team success and you want to get the most out of Caitlin Clark, that is how you're going to have your team run their offense. Does that sound to you like the offense Stephanie White is running? Now, judge it by what you're seeing in the games, okay? Don't judge it by what Stephanie White says. Judge it by what you see and what you saw with Caitlin Clark out there. Do you see 4s and 5s getting out and run the court? Say what you want about Melissa Smith, but she ran the court for Caitlin Clark, right? Temi Fag-Bentley ran the court for Caitlin Clark. I even seen Dantas, and the only thing I said with Dantas, she's a big body. It's not really running, isn't really her thing, but I've seen her do it for Caitlin Clark. We already know players like Sophie and Lexi and Kelsey, your Gabby and Kate, they can hit that spot up 3 for sure, right? But are we seeing this offense with Stephanie White? I don't believe that we are. No, instead, Caitlin Clark has to generate everything herself, and she's got to do it in the half-court game, right? We don't get Erica Wheeler dropping the ball back and hitting that 3. Now, by the way, that can be done. Like Sydney Colson, again, shout out Sydney for this. She does that, right? She did that in the Liberty game, which I think is really kind of what caused all of what we've seen after that, because I don't care what anyone says. I watched Stephanie White and her body language, and I'm telling you, she was not happy about that. But anyway, what do you think about this going forward in terms of the success for the Indiana Fever with their offense? What do you think if Caitlin Clark is having to create all her own shots and she's doing it mostly in the half-court offense? Do you think that the Fever can win enough games like that? Do you think they have enough talent to win games like that when you limit Clark in that way and you limit the offense in that way? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm with Sue Bird on this one. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you so much. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.